Canines are our passion. They are our addiction. They are our way of life, right down to the very core. And without them, we would be lost. The canines of this world really are something to behold. They assist us at work. They accompany us at home. And they perform for us in the field. No matter where we go, they are by our side. Canines really are a ride or die, and for that, we are grateful. This podcast will showcase working canines of various breeds and disciplines as we search for those canines and their handlers who are always striving to be the best at what they do. Those who are always grinding. Those who are always pushing the limits. Those who are always dogging. Join us on our adventures, as it is sure to be a wild ride. I'm your host, Bryce Matthews.
And I'm your co-host, Stephen Basham.
And this is Semper Doggin'. Welcome to another episode of the Semper Doggin' podcast. Basham has recruited a couple people to come hang out with us tonight. And if I have any inclination with how tonight's going to go, this is going to be a fun one. So, guys, welcome to the podcast. Stephen Basham, your co-host. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I cannot complain. My favorite bald genie, Mr. Michael Mitchell. How are you, brother?
Good. How are you fellas?
Fantastic. That's a little inside joke there. Every time I see Michael at a hunt, I got to go up and rub his little head. Tell him I need some of his luck. Because I tell you what, between Michael Mitchell and our other guest on here, Mr. Lee Wade, these two seem to have all the luck when it comes to these big hunts. So, Lee, thanks for joining us tonight, brother. How are you?
Pretty good. You guys?
Ready to get this going. I am excited. So, Basham, you set this one up. This is a deal where you texted me the other day and said, hey, we're recording. We got Michael Mitchell, Lee Wade. And I said, all right, let's go. So I'm going to let you roll with this one for a little bit, brother. Lead us off.
Yeah. I just wanted, biggest thing is I just wanted to give a shout out, I know me and you know what it takes to, as you talked about in some of your other podcasts, your goals that you had marked down. And one of them was just, getting that state jacket. And look at him.
I found it.
For those that can't see it, Bryce is holding up his goal sheet to where he wrote down a bunch of his goals that he wanted to achieve, and one by one he'd mark them off. And so we know how much night in and night out it takes, running these dogs up and down the road, not only to get them qualified to go to the hunt, but then in Lee and Michael's case, to actually go to the hunt and in the same year win the United Kennel Club state championship and then turn around and win the Professional Kennel Club state championship. So I thought it was a great accomplishment, and I really just wanted to bring them on here and talk about, each one of them, talk about, what got them into hunting, talk about their dogs. Me and Michael go a little ways back. I sold him the Rack 'em Up Ben dog, and so always enjoyed him. So like I said, I just wanted to bring them on here. Michael, won't you talk to us? Let's start off by just talking about Hook and where you got him from and how all this came about.
Well, I had Ben dog, and I seen an ad from Bub Blackwell, and he had posted the dog for sale, and then he sold it. Well, then when he got it back, I said, boy, he'd look good in my kennel. Well, I got a phone call from Bub just a few minutes right after I posted that. And he said, hey, buddy, I can get you in that dog. Let's do it. So we made an agreement.
That sounds like a car salesman.
got the Hook dog and hunted him. Had Austin Terrell hunt him. He was going to hunt him in the Spring Super Stakes. We didn't go after it real hard. Didn't get his money won. He had an issue. Never been hunting with dogs much, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. And so I got the dog back from Austin Terrell, posting for sale, knowing he wanted to come and look at him. And I tried to tell people he was a dog to look at. And I ended up Lee ended up getting a hold of me, and I said, hey, he's the real deal. I said, this is what we need to do to make him right. And Lee came in and bought half of him, and that's where we're at today.
All right, well let's go back a little bit. Let's go way back. Hook is an English dog for people who don't know. Have you always been an English fancier, or like walk us through like the history of Michael Mitchell in the coon hunting?
I always had a walker dog, and then the late Junior King, he passed about 5 years ago. I used to hunt with him and Tommy Crows, and I had a little walker jip. Well, Junior King was always a blue tick man, and I always favored tricolor looking blue ticks. Well, I wasn't hunting the hunts then, so I took my little walker female and I bred it to Ringo, which was the blue tick that Junior King had. And I got a beautiful tricolor English dog. And I called her Maggie. And I hunted her. She was a real dog. But she was still mouth. And I always loved the looks of a tricolor dog. But I got it through a blue tick and a walker dog. And then back in the 91, I was able to get a black and tan pup, and I ended up super staking him. He was real good, but he ended up being sterile. So took him off the super stakes program, and other than that, I've been pretty much all walker dogs. And then me and Lee had an English dog together named Freak. A buddy of mine up north had him. Lee had got him. I bought half interest in him, and he was a coon trigger. And so that piqued my interest on the English dogs. Well, when Bub posted that on Hook, he was beautiful, and he was the perfect dog in collar that I liked. So I ended up buying Hook, not knowing how good he was going to become, and he's still a young dog, but that's where we're at with the English dog. I still got Ben, but I favor him and the walker dogs pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know about this Hook dog that we're talking about, the first time that I laid eyes on him, I was like, oh my, like this is a pretty dog. He is a nice red and blue tricolored English dog. He's one of the prettiest English dogs that I've laid eyes on. And the fact that he can look that good and tree coons, I mean, that's the icing on top of the cake.
Yes, sir.
Lee, let's roll into you. How did you and Mitchell get hooked up here? Other than you were wanting to buy half in on Hook. Did you and Michael ever have any past dealings? Were you guys buddies before this? Was this a relationship that has formed over a dog and has just evolved over time? Like, just walk us through that, because you've been around for a long time and you've handled a bunch of dogs.
So, me and Mitch, we met actually. I had a dog named Rebel. He was super staked, had his money won and stuff like that. And Mitch's brother got a hold of me and said, hey, my brother's got 2 dogs. He's looking for a super staked dog. He loves the super staked stuff, and these dogs ain't super staked. I said, okay. So Mitch come down. We went hunting. It was bitter cold that night. And he brought a dog down named $1,000 Duck. And we cut Rebel and Duck loose, and Duck hit a track, and I looked at Mitch. I said, buddy, I don't know you real well. I said, was that dog running a deer? He said, no, he's going to put an end to it here in just a second. He said, just go ahead and tree Duck. Well, we walked in there. Duck had a coon. I mean, made it look simple, easy. We cut Rebel. He treed a few coons. Then me and Mitch, we just come, pretty tight. He got a hold of me and said, hey, will you hunt Rebel at Super Stakes for me, handling him? I said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Me and Mitch, we go way back, if it wasn't for Michael Mitchell, I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. There's a lot of hunts that I will not be able to go to. He's a heck of a guy. He gets me to point A to point B when I need to go. I look at him like a dad. He does everything I ask. I do everything he asks. We just, we've been tight and close. If he says, hey, I got a dog over here, that run and tree a coon, he says it runs and trees a coon, but that dog's got a lot of ability once somebody starts hunting it. That's just like Hook, I ended up selling Freak and went down. I bought Hook off the chain. I didn't need to see him go. Brought him home. Didn't know the dog from Adams. I cut the dog loose. He treed 9 single coons. I messaged Mitch. I said, "This is a coon tree in full." And now, granted, he treed 9 single coons and one on a fence row. Probably about 4 miles long fence row. I didn't have to walk too far. He was just popping them up like candy. And Mitch said, "Hey, you need to start hunting with some group of guys. Take Hook out there, work on him, do this, do that." So I started working on Hook, and here we are today. We just we win about 90% of the cast we're in. If we don't win, we're there. I'm on your tail end throughout the whole cast.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's been very apparent through the few hunts that I've drawn you in. And I actually I think I drew the Freak dog one time, hunted against you, but yeah. I never have hunted against Hook. But man, I've seen them scorecards that come in, and you guys put a hurting on them.
Yeah, he just he gives me the opportunity that I need. All I do is sit there, I strike him, I tree him, I let Hook do the talking, walk in there. There's been a few times we've lost a few casts in the summertime because he trees a lot of layup coons, and you can find it in the thermal. I can squall, beat, and bang, and sometimes, guys, I just can't get that coon to look, but in the thermal, it's right up there, and it makes me sick, but that's part of the sport.
That's part of it.
He don't work on, he don't walk on water, but what he does is he trees coons and he don't give no points away. And for a young dog, 2.5 years old, that's pretty impressive for me.
Yeah, that's impressive no matter what. Going back a little bit, Lee, what got you into coon hunting? Like, where did all that start out at?
So a lot of people knew my stepdad, David Allen. Him and my mom got married. Larry Allen Jr., he owned the train dog. My stepdad owned the high stepping Jake dog. I started hunting, and everybody knows an old man named George Burnett. He had English dogs, Red Hot Nose Rosie. I hunted her. I made her night champion. I grew up around the English dogs. I grew up around the Walker dogs. I hunted almost every night I could. I played football, swim, baseball. I did it all throughout high school, and I was in the woods every night. So if it wasn't for my stepdad, I would never even know what coon hunting was about until my mom and them got married, and I just love the sport. I made it to the PKC Youth World down in Salem, Illinois. Everybody was, hey, that Jake dog's going to win. He's going to win. Jake ended up getting ran over in a cast. I was leading the cast. I was 2 coons up. No dog ever barked for an hour on that cast. And I told that guide and that judge, I said, "Hey, guys, Jake's ran over." They said, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "The dog ain't treed, is he?" And they said, "No, he's not ran over. Don't think anything of it." So after the hunt was over, pulled out the beep tracker, and I said, "Hey, he's straight through." We drove around there, and he was dead in the middle of the road. It wasn't no highway. It was a gravel road with probably about 4 foot of grass growing in it. He ended up getting hit. Bud Hood called the next morning and said, "Hey, let me speak to Lee." And I took the phone, and Bud Hood said, "Hey, you come back. I will come back to Indiana, pick you up. You can hunt this female of mine." And I said no. Jake was the one who got me all the way there. So I didn't go back to hunt.
Man, that's
got to be tough. That's got to be tough. I mean, you talk about, having a dog that kind of gets you there. And, I think Bryce posted on it today on Facebook, having a dog and building a bond with the dog, and then something happened. I think for me, mine was a dog named Candy. Right before I joined the Marine Corps, my dad, we went up to a dog trader, and we had bought my dad bought this little female from Todd Arms, which for those of you that don't know Todd Arms owned a bunch of dogs, the Thunder Dog, the bunch of dogs for J.C. Ellis, and White Tar Nailer, a bunch of those dogs. But anyways, my dad paid $20 and a chainsaw for this pup. And I went out there and started training on this pup, and got it going. And I was the only one that ever won anything with it, and turned right around and sold it to J.C. Ellis. J.C. ended up bringing it back because she was one of those dogs that just wouldn't go hunting. And I kept her all the way, till the end. And to build that bond with the dog, I know what you're talking about, Lee, whereas you don't see yourself winning that award, because if you was to take another dog and just by chance, by luck, go out there and win the whole thing, now you almost feel like you've dishonored that dog because he's the one that got you there and you went out and did it with a different dog.
Oh, yeah, I agree 110% right there.
It's tough, especially like it's hard. It's hard as a handler when the dog that you're hunting and you formed a bond with gets sold. That sucks. But man, when you put all that time and effort into a dog and an accident happens and there's nothing you can do about it, I mean, you never, every time we cut these dogs loose, it's a chance. It's a risk.
Yeah. Yep.
And Bryce, wouldn't you say like last year was a bad year for that?
It was. There were several dogs that, had some really, really unfortunate events happen, and just good caliber dogs and freak accidents, like, I don't know. It's weird. And it'll almost like, it'll scar somebody, You might, like Lee said, you might be hunting in the middle of nowhere on a gravel road, and you see that dog going on that tracker now, because with bird's eye and satellite imagery, everybody can see everything. And you can see where that dog is, and that thing is getting close to a road, and you're like, hey, judge or guide, is that a busy road over there? Like, no, there ain't hardly any roads over there. And you're like, man, it only takes one. It literally only takes one. So yeah. It makes it tough. But, Mitchell, how do you do it? Because in your shoes, every hunt that I go to, actually, let me rephrase this. Most of the hunts that I go to, you're the handler's truck man. You are right there making sure that Lee gets where he needs to be in the woods. You're sitting there to drive around, pick him up when need be. You are a part owner on this dog, but Lee does 90% of the handling. And I know you've stepped in a few times when you absolutely had to, just to some other circumstances. But how does that work for you? Like, do you ever doubt what's going on in the woods? Are you ever nervous? Like, just walk me through what it's like to be an owner / truck man, because I'm curious.
No, it's the most important part.
I'm never nervous. The good Lord graced us to enjoy this sport and enjoy it any way we can. And when you creep up on age and get some health issues, you just got to try to enjoy the sport any way you can. Lee will tell you, I don't know how they're scoring trees and this, that, and the other, but I ain't too far off the scores when he comes back to that truck. So I've got it down to an art where I listen and I pretty much know how it should have went. If, depends on if they plussed it or minused it, but as far as how many trees Hook makes or another dog makes, I got that all figured out. So as long as they stay in here and I'm in the game.
Like, do you enjoy that? Like, is that something that you've just learned to come to enjoy, due to health issues and stuff like that? Or, if you were back in, just say, perfect health and able to walk to every tree, would you still be the truck man? Would you still let somebody else hunt the dog for you?
I'd let him enjoy him, but no, he'd have to step aside a little bit more, Lee would, because that's in my blood. I mean, I love competition. I plan on getting back to it, but like I said, you gotta enjoy what you can enjoy, however you can enjoy it.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the way I do it.
So for the listeners out there, and I think I'm going to take a step back just for a second, Bryce. A little bit of a somber moment here. I don't want to take this kind of in a bad way, and this is kind of a bad twist, but I think for those four of us on the call, I think we kind of know Michael's background as far as his medical issues. Would you, just for the listeners, would you go through just what you're fighting with? Because I think for every guy on here, we look up to you. We look up to the strength that you have, the perseverance that you have to continue going on each day. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on here, was just spread that positivity of what you're going through. And maybe somebody that's going through it, would find some inspiration in your story.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's just wear and tear on your body that you put on. I've been heavy all my life, so I wore my knees out and ended up getting 2 total knee replacements. I had a fluke pulmonary embolism. I lived through it. And, right now I'm just anemic. I'm cold all the time, and my body, for some reason, don't have no stored iron, and they're trying to figure that out right now. But I took some transfusions. I think I'm starting to feel better. So, it sucks getting old, guys.
Yep, that it does.
Yeah, and
enjoy your youth.
But the fact that I don't think that I've ever seen you upset, and I mean that with all sincerity. Like, I don't think I've ever went to a hunt and just seen you aggravated or mad. Even if you don't win or Lee doesn't win, like, you're always upbeat, you're always positive. And when you just said that, kind of hit home with me. You said enjoy it any way that you can.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I get fired up if you feel like you just been blatantly cheated. I get fired up about that. But you cut these dogs loose. You got these dogs spreading out. Your dog happened to spread out the right way and got the right track and got on the top end of a strike and the top end of the tree. That a lot of that plays a part in them hunts. You can get beat one day and beat the world champion the next. I mean, it's just a lot of it's luck. You got to have a good dog. I'm not saying that, but you got to get the breaks. You got to have the luck. A lot of things happen out there, and they're dogs. In all reality, they're dogs. No use getting all upset over it. I don't mind correcting a dog, but I don't get on them hard. That bothers me more than anything, probably the most, when you see someone going overboard on a dog, because they're just dogs. They're a working dog that's doing everything they can for you. They're not doing it for them. I mean, you got dogs that are naturally that do it, but once you correct them, once you get them to doing what you want, they're doing it for you. So I don't usually get upset at the hunts. No, I usually don't.
Yeah. So, like, Lee, do you ever feel any pressure as the handler? Knowing that Michael's in the truck, or reporting back after the hunt, like, man, this happened. Like, do you ever have any pressure on you, especially like in those high stakes hunts, like these state hunts that you guys have been fortunate enough to win?
So let's start with the UKC state hunt. Friday night. I'm not gonna lie about it. When I tell you we was getting coon dogged, we was getting coon dogged. That little female heifer that I hunt for Robin Demita, I drew her, of course, and she was throttling us. And we called timeout, and I told Mitch, I said, hey, we're getting throttled. And he said, yeah, I figured. Well, we ended up moving, and Hook just did his thing. That boy that was hunting heifer made a couple bad calls, which I knew it was going to happen. Hook set her up on a tree, left it, went over and treed the coon the right way. That boy treed, and then, he struck for 100. He's not thinking. He trees her again, and she's on a gut slick. And after that, we ended up winning Friday night. Saturday night, I went out there and hit 1,000, and Hook just did his thing. Would I have scored 1,000 in a 4-dog cast? It'd been hard, because where we was hunting is big state land that I got, big hills and hollers. But honestly, no, I do not feel pressured when Mitch is sitting in the truck, because I spend almost every night in the woods with Hook. I know what Hook's doing. I can tell you whether he's going to jam a coon. I can tell you whether if he misses the coon. I can tell you everything Hook just does in the woods, and I don't feel pressured. I get at first I get a little nervous. Like the Indiana PKC state hunt. First round, Hook did his thing and did it right. Late round, I got a little nervous. I asked Mitch. I said, "Hey, do you ever feel nervous?" He said, "Nah, never do, buddy." And I said, "Well, I'm sitting over here. My hands are sweating, and I got the fidgety shakes. I'm ready to go. Once I get that dog on paper, I'm good."
Yeah,
But,
see, I'm the same way. I got to get him struck, and then I'm good.
Yep, that's how I am. I get him struck. I'm 100% good. And Basham's sitting over there laughing. He's got to get his treat in and have a coon to feel good.
No, the reason why I'm laughing is if you don't know why Bryce Matthews is asking if you ever feel nervous, I'm going to give you just a quick story. We went to a legacy hunt in Morgantown, Kentucky, and he's hunting Rebel. We'd come all the way back, and he knows what I'm about to say. We had come all the way back from Arkansas. Me and him used to take these trips on a whim. We just take off, go everywhere. Me and him drove all the way to Arkansas, went way down to the White River Refuge, made it all the way back Saturday night for a legacy hunt. He's hunting Rebel. And we go cut the dogs, and they go down through there, and Rebel barks once. Rebel barks twice. Judge says, "Who is that?" Rebel barks 3 times. Still nothing from Bryce Matthews. Rebel barks 4 times. Rebel barks 5 times. Finally, Bryce is like, "Oh, strike in Rebel." Well, Rebel goes down through there.
Now, hold on. This is early in my coon hunting career. Very early. Continue.
He goes down through there. Rebel runs the track, and he loads up just loads up a big locate. Loads up another big locate. Loads up another big locate. And I turn on my light, and I look over at Bryce. I'm just like, man, what is he waiting on? Rebel locates again and starts to roll it over I kind of make a little clearing of the throat gesture, and I look at Bryce again, and all of a sudden this little female just came in there and yeah. That guy treat his dog. Bryce goes, "Tree Rebel." And I looked at him and I was like, "Bryce, what are you doing?" He yells back at me. He goes, "I'm nervous. Leave me alone."
I was, man. That was my very first legacy hunt. Like, that was the first time I'd won early round. This was late round. I was nervous. You ought to ask Shane Smith. We'll get him on here one day. We'll tell a story about the first hunt that I ever went to with him. But this is not a story or a podcast about Bryce's nervous stories. But yes, I was.
But it was funny because you brought up the being nervous.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm the same. I'm the same way as Lee. For me, man, I'm tight that first until I can get my dog struck in. I don't know what it is, but my heart's beating up. It don't matter. It don't even matter if it's a $35 hunt. If it's a $100 hunt, it does not matter. Like, I'm going out there and I'm like, "Oh man, come on, get your, But let's once the action starts picking up, oh, I'm fine after that. The only thing, probably the best feeling I have over anything, and it don't matter whether it's Lee's dog, Bryce's dog, it doesn't matter, is when that stopwatch goes off and the hunt's over and you're walking to a dog that will determine who wins and who loses.
I could puke at that moment.
That right there, I love it, because to me, that is the epitome of competition coon hunting. That is the epitome of, coming down to the last wire, that last second shot at the NCAA tournament. To me, that's what it's about.
That's the way Hook wins most of his casts. It's usually that last tree.
Nope.
Lee, walk us through. Sorry, Basham. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
No. I was going to have Lee walk us through that Indiana State PKC hunt, because was sitting up watching the play-by-play on that, and it looked like a pretty thrilling cast. Like you would take the lead, and then that young kid would take the lead, and then you would take the lead. Walk us through that.
So, we cut loose. Tilly struck for 100, Rock 75. Tilly's treed, Rock's treed. I strike Hook for 50 with a line. Hook's over here, pulling a puppy stage because he's still got a little puppy in him. So we go in there, we're shining a tree. Hook comes in there, I got to handle him. They got a coon. So we walk our minute. Well, when we walk our minute, I look at Hook and I said, "What are you doing?" And he just, I just grabbed him by the jaw and looked at him eye to eye, nose to nose. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he gave me that look. And Hook knows when I get upset a little bit, So we cut loose. After we walked our minute, we cut loose. Hook went over the creek. It was probably about 20 seconds into the minute. I struck Hook right off the bat for 100 because I'm trying to play catch up now. Hook goes across the creek, trailing. Tilly struck, Rock struck. Hook throws a big locate. I let him settle in. There's nothing with him. Kai said, putting the stationary on him. I said, there's no reason to put the stationary on Hook. Just tree him. Well, I treed Hook. We walked in there, had a coon. I come back across the creek, and I look over to my right, and Tilly's in the water. So, like, kind of swimming in a circle, and I'm thinking, yeah, come on up here, take some minus, girl. So I'm taking my sweet time, and I kind of, handlers are going to do what they're going to do, So I veered to the left a little bit because she's in the water swimming. And when I veered up the bank to the left, she ends up following me up there. And she took her minus. So, now I'm sitting with 225. Tilly took 75 minus, and she had 225. Well, when I cut, there was coons sitting up everywhere. And when I cut, Tilly kind of got up there around Hook, and Hook, he shot out of there like a rocket. And I was like, well, there went that idea. There was coons sitting up everywhere. Hook just blew through there. So Rock's treed on in there. The two's working on Rock off and on. Kai saying he's in one spot. Myself and that young boy, we both knew that, Rock is moving down the creek. And finally I say something. I said, hey, why are we keep walking to this dog and we're putting the two on him, and the two almost catches him and he barks once, and you're saying he's treed. He was in a hole at first, but you could clearly tell that he moved down. And, I don't blame Short for doing what he's doing. He's trying to, that's just part of the sport. So they end up minusing Rock, and when they did, Hook's behind me, treed towards the truck. I said, hey, you got me? He said, yeah. I said, just go ahead and strike and tree Hook right there.
The Semper Doggin Podcast is proudly presented to you by Froggy Bottom Outdoors. Froggy Bottom Outdoors is the newest outdoor and hunting supply, habitat management, and livestock feed provider in the Midwest. With a wide variety of products, a unique business model, and a dedicated team of individuals who are eager to provide their customers with an unparalleled shopping experience, you will not have to search any further than Froggy Bottom Outdoors. With brands such as Garmin, Yoder Nylon, Banks Hunting Blinds, Razor Hunting Gear, Purina Mills, Kalmbach Feeds, Anuksha, Real World Products, and many more, Froggy Bottom Outdoors has you covered from the farm to the woods. Visit FroggyBottomOutdoors.com today and follow them on Facebook to see how they can help you. Not finding what you're looking for online? No problem. Feel free to give the store a call at 765-330-2098. The team at Froggy Bottom Outdoors is excited to get to know you and would be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Well, walking back to Hook in my mind, I was like, yep, I got this coon. This is ball game. The dog don't miss. Well, he missed the coon by a tree, so I eat my minus. That now I'm leash locked because Tilly's treed, Rock's treed in there, and I'm thinking, yeah, here we go. So we walk all the way across this field. We get probably about, 20 yards from Tilly. And she's sitting there treeing. Rock, he's gone. Short says minus me. Kai says cut. cut hook. I cut hook. He runs right towards Tilly, takes a left, goes up through there. We circle Tilly's tree. I heard Hook locate a couple times in there, but I knew it wasn't right. Well, Hook ended up coming treed. I think there was like 18 minutes, I think it was, or 17, something like that. Well, he threw this big old locate. When he did, I just jammed him. Hook's got certain locates. If I need to tree Hook before the hunt's over, I can get away with it. I can jam him because I know he's going to stay. So I tree him, and we're walking to him, and Tilly comes treed to the right. Well, he trees Tilly, and we're walking Hook. I gotta have a coon, so we get over there, and they say shine time start. Throw my light up, first fork, all balled up, sound asleep. There he is. I'm leash locked now because Short treed his on through there. So we go over to Tilly, and we're sitting there, and if she's got a coon, she's got me beat. Well, she was over there where Hook kind of located 2 or 3 times and moved that track on out of there. So they're sitting there beating and squalling this tree. I'm just sitting over there walking around with Hook, throwing my light up in the tree, looking. I'm thinking, just my luck. The coon's going to come running out of this hole. Well, it didn't. So that was the end of it. I won it, and I got back to the truck, and I went to shake Mitch's hand, and he said, great dog handling, proud of you, and he gave me a big hug.
I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment, You guys went out and won the UKC Indiana State, and then you turn right around and win the PKC State with the same dog. That's nothing but preparation, time spent in the woods, knowing your dog, and being prepared for the situation at hand. Knowing your rules, knowing your dog. It all comes together.
And the thing is with that, Bryce, the little list you had up, we had the same list, but verbally with me and Lee. We was going to get all these accomplishments done. And Lee and Hook and me, we done everything we wanted to do. The only thing we didn't do is we didn't win the truck at the pup shootout. We didn't win the world hunt. We didn't go to the finals of TOC, but everything else we accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's important to have those goals and those lists. Like, even if it is just a verbal deal, I think it's important to get it out of your head and say them or write them down, because that's what you're shooting for. That's what you're working for. And whenever you have those bad nights in the woods, you make a bonehead call on a cast and you cost yourself a cast win. You go back and you look at that stuff and you're like, man, okay, buckle down, saddle up, let's go again. Let's ride. I think it's important.
We had that kind of talk not too long ago, didn't we, Bryce?
Yeah, about 3 days ago.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about running these hunts is, man, it's your mood. I don't care what anybody says. Your mood changes like the weather.
It really does, especially mine.
You go out there and you have a good night. You have a bad night. You have a bad night. You have a good night. You have a bad cast. You cost yourself a cast. The dog costs you a cast. It's just it's really becoming one with the dog. And like you mentioned before, a lot of times, especially when you're handling for somebody, typically you do a lot of winning with the dog, and next thing you know, the dog's being sold. So for me, obviously I've gotten lucky, kind of probably like Lee has, with Hook. I got lucky with Buddy and Spot, that both owners, have no interest whatsoever in selling. And so I kind of get to keep the 2 that I have. So,
yeah. So how is that with you guys, forming a partnership on those dogs? Because you guys are partners on Hook. You were partners on Freak. Do you guys ever have discrepancies on handling styles or correction styles? Walk us through that for those listeners who, maybe we got some young guys on here who are listening and they're thinking about, they want to start going to some of these competition hunts, but they don't quite have the funds to do it or the means to do it, and they need to partner with somebody. Walk us through kind of like the ground rules, I guess, for a partnership that's going to last and is going to work. Because there's a lot of partnerships that fall apart real quick.
Go ahead, Lee.
Well, the biggest thing I can say about partnership, you and your partner's got to be on the same page. If your partner calls you and says, "Hey, how'd your dog look tonight?" You don't sit there and tell him, well, he looked like this and looked like that. Don't make him sound good. I'll tell Mitch straight up, hey, he looked like dog crud. He looked like a counterfeit dog. There's times where, I get hot headed with Hook, and because I know what Hook's capable of doing, I know what he's gonna do. And me and Mitch, we just stay on that same page. Like, the way I handle a dog, Mitch handles the dog the same way. We talk a lot. We talk. We're always on the phone together. It don't matter if it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'll call him and say, hey, how would you do this? I'm still young, and I've actually ruined a couple good dogs myself from laying the electric to them. Just burn them up and just ruined them. And so I call Mitch, and he gets a good idea of what I'm going through, and then he'll tell me how to handle it. You and your partner just got to stay on the same page, and it's not all because you got a partner. Oh, well, you hunt the dog every night, and then you're going to rely on your partner to pay all the hunts. It don't work like that. You guys split it 50-50. That's the biggest thing. I mean, everything is 50-50 down the middle.
Yeah. Michael, what's your side of that?
That's the same thing. I'm never going to treat someone. I want to be treated the same as I'm going to treat someone. So I'm going to always be on that side of it. If Lee would do something that upsets me, I'm going to wait until I cool down, and then I'm going to mention something. And usually it's little things that bother me because I've done it to a dog and I didn't get good responses out of that dog, and I went backwards with that dog. So I'll wait until I kind of chill out a little bit, and then I'll say, hey, how about if we do that? How many of you guys go to bed thinking about how to fix a dog for doing something? We all do it.
All the time.
I lay in bed constantly, and I've always had to fix problems. And so I usually think about it, and then we'll call Lee and say, hey, what do you think about doing it this way? How about if we try to get the dog to respond this way? Sometimes less is more on a dog. Sometimes it's just as simple as put them in the kennel for 2 or 3 days. Let them think about it. Bring them back out. As far as a partnership, honesty goes a long way with me. You straight up with me, and we're good. So I don't have no issues usually. I mean, there ain't too many people can say I've done them wrong, because I don't. And if I feel like I have, then I make it right. So I think Lee and all them, they appreciate that. I think that's why. I mean, there's times where I'm going to go down and get a dog, and me and Lee's hunt together, and he said, nope, you stay right here. I'm getting that dog. That's too bad. These guys take care of me. Cody does the same thing for me, and I appreciate them. I mean, they really go above and beyond sometimes for me.
Yeah, I think Mitch, you kind of hit part of it, what I was going to say, and that is, I think the number one thing, and it goes even for me and Bryce, that we've learned is, in doing even this together, is that you've got to have a friendship first. You've got to have a level of respect that allows for different personalities. One thing that Bryce would tell you is me and him, people think that me and him are a lot alike, but we're actually 100% different in most areas. We respect each other enough that I allow him to have his differences, and he allows me to have my differences. And it's the same way whenever you co-own a dog, or even if you handle for somebody. I mean, in the world that we live in, you know, it first and foremost is successful partnership, whether it's you just straight up hunting for somebody or whether you're actually fully in partners with somebody, is first and foremost is just that friendship, that respect, being able to sit down and talk with each other and understand that the way that you do things aren't always going to be the way that I do things. And it's okay if we go about it in a different way, as long as we both end up at the end result that we both want. It doesn't matter how we got there, as long as we don't lose each other in that process. And I think that's what makes it successful or not.
Yeah, I agree with that, you know, because you and I have went several times on different topics where I say one thing and you say another thing, and we're both too daggone stubborn and hard-headed just to let it go for a minute. So we'll sit there and hash it out for way longer than we need to. And I think we both kind of just razz each other a little bit and get some enjoyment out of that. But at the end of it, it's like, all right, I'll chill. Like, I'll back off on this one, and you handle it. You've been there. You've done that, you know. You handle it this time, and it works that way. Like you said, just talking. So I was just curious, you know, how that worked, you know, for a dog partnership, because I really haven't been in very many of them that were like legitimate partnerships. So, you know,
A lot of them won't work. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. A lot of them won't. I mean, you got to be committed to that relationship, because you're taking a dog that you care for and putting it in someone else's hands, or, you know, a partnership, and you're not going to have full control of that same dog like you did. So you got to have a lot of respect, and you got to trust that person's going to take care of your half of the dog when they got it.
So Michael, let's throw out a hypothetical situation here. You're in the Indiana State Hunt. You're a co-owner on 2 dogs, and both of them get in the Final Four. What do you do there? How is your emotions playing? Like, obviously you want to win with one of the 2 dogs, but
I'm going to correct
walk
you
me
on that.
through that.
I'm not wanting to win with one of my 2 dogs. I'm going to want to win first and second. So it doesn't matter which way it works. That's the way it is. I mean, I root for them both. I mean, there's times we're at the same big hunt, and I'm getting texts from Cody's wife, and I'm knowing what's going on with Hook, so it's like getting play-by-play. So, yeah, it's exciting.
I mean, dude, I don't know. I guess I've never hunted for somebody like that, where you're like, you're on the same team, but at the same time, you're very much like trying to win it for yourself. You know, it'd be an interesting dynamic.
Oh, it definitely would be, having multiple dogs. So let's go back into Hook a little bit. Let's dive into him. I've seen where you guys just bred him. Talk about his pedigree. Talk about where he comes from, and what are the attributes, Lee? I'd like to hear you chime in on this. What's the attributes that makes Hook so special?
What makes Hook so special?
Yep.
So, you know, you go to these big hunts, right? They got dogs tied out. Them dogs are just barking, pacing back and forth, just doing stuff that just drives a man crazy. You know, I can tie Hook out anywhere. He lays down. He acts like he's a 30-year-old man, just wore out, tired, but he's not. He's just chilling. He's rolling around in the grass. You know, he's not sitting there barking. Hook's just got a head full of sense, and that comes a long, long ways in a dog. You know,
hey, me and Michael take offense to the old age. You know, easy on that one.
Well, Hook's just Hook, man. He just, you know, I'm not going to sit here and brag him up, because, you know, he could go a week and never tree a coon. He could go next week and tree 50. I've just been blessed. You know, me and him, we make a great team. So that's just how I feel about it. He's got a head full of sense, and, you know, it takes a head full of sense with me, because there's a lot of things I want in a dog, and I'll tell you, hey, your dog just don't got what it takes for me to be behind it. Hook, he's got all the right tools and a head full of sense, and it comes a long ways.
So like, would you say that one of the, I guess, the biggest trait that you were hoping that he passes on to this litter that he's getting ready to sire would be just that head full of sense?
Yeah, I mean, all reality, he's got a head full of sense. Now they're going to be coon treers, if they take anything after their daddy. I don't know much about the mommy. What I've heard about her, she's a coon tree in full. And she's got a head full of sense too. So, I just think them pups are going to come out. It's not going to be hard to train them. They're just going to, you just take them to the woods and they're going to speak for themselves.
Mitch, what are you looking for in this litter?
I think he'll throw his rich collars. As far as Hook, he's out of Big Lee, and a mother, his dam is Pebbles, which is a direct daughter out of Hatchie River Dottie. Well, Hatchie River Dottie's a Hall of Famer. Her genes are in a lot of pedigree, and they're coon treers. And I've always said, I've told Lee, I've told Cody, I tell everyone, I have no doubt in my mind that Hook will reproduce just because of his intelligence. The dog from the kennel to the truck to train coons back to the truck, he's all business. He knows what you want. You could just, you take a dog in the yard, and when that dog's turning around looking up at you, them are the kind of dogs I like to mess with. They're intelligent. They're going to work for you. And I think Hook's a total package. He's nothing fancy. He trees coon, but he'll tree any kind of coon. He'll tree the layup. He'll tree the old feeder track, and he can scorch a running coon. His looks and his intelligence, I just think he'll produce, and I'm really excited about this cross.
Good deal.
Well, so did Mitch? Was it your idea to breed to this female? Like, give us the background on her. Like, did somebody come to you? How did that work? How did this cross happen?
Yeah, I was going to a strawberry festival in Macon, Georgia for kettle corn, and I got a phone call on the way down, and the gentleman called me and said that he had a female coming in. And I'd already told Lee that I was going to be real selective at first. I just don't want to breed to anything. And he sent me videos, and I talked to a few guys that know her. And down there in Tennessee, they say she's a real deal. I liked her looks, and we made arrangements. I told him I didn't want to do no live breeding because we still got a lot of hunts. He's still young, and I had some semen collected at Never Forgone with Keith Bowling, and he said, no, we AI'd her last time, and she didn't have no pups. He says, I want a live breed. I said, I ain't going to be able to give you a live breed, but what I'll give you is a side-by-side. He said, I'm all good for that. So that's what we did yesterday. We did a side-by-side standing breeding with Hook and her.
Okay, so walk through that with the listeners. Maybe somebody doesn't know what that is. Like, can you explain a side-by-side breeding scenario?
Yeah, I took both dogs up there. They done a progestin test on the female, and she was ready to be bred. She was at 18.5. I guess they need to be between 16 and 20 for a good breeding. And so got Hook out. They got the semen out of Hook, turned around and put her in the stirrups, and they ended up putting, literally, they put 9 breedings into her from Hook.
Why?
He had 18 straws that he gave it for that nice job that Keith gave him. And so he put it all to her, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's got to be exciting.
When I had him tested, he had 200 million live sperm per milliliter. So I mean, he should be able to get the job done. If she's got 14 eggs, I'm sure there's going to be 14 straight line swimmers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heading through them eggs.
Basham, what else you got? Because I got one more question on my mind. What do you got?
Nah, go ahead, buddy.
So I want to know what the future holds for Hook. Like, what's y'all's plans? You guys have checked a bunch of stuff off the list. What's that one hunt that you want to win? Or what's that one goal you want to accomplish?
The biggest goal for me, hey, it'd be great to win the Super Stakes. We could check that off our list. The UKC World, that is going to be my big goal. We're gonna make some noise when it comes to that. And we got nationals coming up. I'm gonna make some noise with him in nationals. There's quite a few hunts that I want to win, and Hook's just gonna do it. I mean, I can sit back and talk about it, but I can tell you now, we're gonna check them boxes off. You guys just be watching.
You heard it here first on the Semper Doggin podcast.
That's right.
Mine's pretty simple. Next big stop is, of course, Spring Super Stakes. But other than that, keep him healthy and keep running these hunts. Let the chips fall where they're going to fall. Because I know what kind of dog he is. It's just that simple.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, going to these hunts as much as you guys do you guys ever get burnt out? Like, y'all ever just want to take a break?
Yeah, I was running for that truck ticket. I was at a hunt every night. I didn't care if it was 2 hours away, $35 hunt. I'd call Mitch and say, "Hey, I'm on the road. Me and Hook, we're going after this truck ticket." And that's just, I got burnt out real quick. You can running up and down the road, it wears you out. Then you got to go to work. You come home. You got a family at home, and it's hi bye, see you later.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, pushing a dog to the level that we are all wanting to push one to and reach those goals that we all want to reach. Because I think all four of us right here on this call, we have a competitive nature to us that, sometimes it's stronger, sometimes it's weaker, but it's always there, And when we get our mind set to something and we want to go win, it's time. Like, let's go. Katie barred the door, baby. Like, I'm coming. I'm going to put forth all the effort that I can. And I see that in you guys a lot, You can always count on anywhere. We're really in the state of Indiana, I feel like, that Lee Wade, Michael Mitchell, and Hook are going to show up, and you're going to know that they're there.
Yeah, we're going to compete.
Go ahead.
We're going to compete. Like, there's no pressure on Lee. If Lee don't hunt a hunt in 2 weeks, it's fine. We had all these big hunts that was changed up this spring. So, if he wants to take time off in the summer, he's already grinded out. I do know that we're going to hit some of the mini slams around Autumn Oaks, and we're going to be at Autumn Oaks. We're probably not going to do the Labor Day Classic PKC this year. We're probably going to do the mini slams just to experience and enjoy it. It'll be at Autumn Oaks. Hopefully I got some pups down there at Autumn Oaks to sell. But I know me and Lee's going to keep several of them. And because the big thing about putting pups on the ground, it don't matter what you breed to, you got to have them in good hands. If you don't have them in good hands, no one's going to know about it. So we're going to keep them in our hands, whether they're good hands or not. We're going to keep them in our hands. So we're going to do it that way.
Can you name one of those pups All-State? Please, All-State.
I'm sorry?
I said, can you name one of them pups All-State? Because you're in good hands.
Yeah, All-State.
Yeah. Sure will.
Just for you, Bryce.
Thank you. You can call him State. You can call him State. You guys have won the state twice. Just call him State.
Just call him State.
I was thinking the less than symbol. 400.
Yeah.
Be one of the pups. Less than 400.
Oh, I like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of winning the UKC world, let's just talk real quick. When was the last time an English dog won the UKC World? Does anybody know?
Ooh, trivia.
No, you should, Basham.
Oh, I definitely know. I wouldn't ask the question if I didn't know the answer.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Mr. Michael Mitchell.
Yeah, I think. I'm trying to remember the dog's name. Jesse River, maybe?
No, sir. Let's go with the late and great Randy Leonard and John the Baptist.
Yeah.
That would have been the last one. And
What
the
year
one
was that?
before
What year was that? What year was that?
Ooh, what year was it?
I thought you was over here and had the answer for us, not over here pulling
No,
stuff out of thin air.
No, I know what dog it was. I don't remember.
Didn't Big River Jesse ever win?
Mm-mm.
He never won the UKC World Hunt.
I don't think he won the. And before that, a few years before that would have been Top Gun with Mr. Wilcox.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do something fun here. This is for those people who have stuck around to the end of the podcast.
Ooh.
We will send a Semper Doggin t-shirt to the first person who emails us the correct year that John the Baptist won the UKC World Hunt. You have to email us at semperdoggin@gmail.com. Basham's going to do some research. He's going to find this answer since he asked the question. He gets to do the legwork. He's going to find the correct answer. After this podcast drops, first person, email us semperdoggin@gmail.com with the winner, with the year that John the Baptist won the UKC World Hunt, will get a Semper Doggin t-shirt. So,
well, we even got to do better than that, Bill, because you have all these young kids that probably don't even remember the Baptist dog. So what we need to do, and with you guys' help cheering us on, we'll just win it this year with Hatchie River Hook. So they'll be familiar.
That's what I was thinking.
there we go.
Do I get one of them t-shirts? Do I get one of them t-shirts and hats for guessing the name right off the bat?
Well, I mean, I could sit here and say that I'd be rooting for you guys, but I mean, I'll root for you guys to come in second.
Well, see, what's going to happen is me and you, we're going to draw each other in the final four.
I bet we don't.
Why?
I bet we don't.
Why are you so confident? Because you ain't going to be there.
Because I will not be there. That is why.
Oh gosh, that was a fun little jab.
We will not go into that, but I will not be there. However, High Dollar Whiskey, I hope, will be there. Make a make his comeback tour. Make his comeback.
Let me ask you, Stephen. Do you got a return date?
No, sir. Indefinitely.
Oh, okay.
All right,
well,
guys.
Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is permission.
You feel the pain too, bud.
Indefinitely.
You could go as incognito, dress up like Bryce.
I don't think that anybody would ever mistake me for anybody else.
He couldn't pull off a look this good. Ain't no way.
Hey, I don't have a frog suit. I couldn't do it as good.
You wish that was me in that frog suit. Wasn't that funny? Hey, if you guys haven't yet, go over to Froggy Bottom Outdoors.
Oh, I've seen it.
Go out to Froggy Bottom Outdoors Facebook page and go watch their reel. We had a good time today showcasing one of our Briarproof jackets, the light and dry rain jacket, because it was a nice rainy day today. And we had one of our team members hop in the frog suit to do this video, and I cannot tell you how many people have messaged us and everything saying that they thought it was me in that frog suit. I'm just saying.
I literally watched it and thought it was you.
If it was me in that frog suit, you'd have seen some real moves busted out at the end of that thing.
That's why I thought it was you. I've seen the moves.
Oh my goodness! So, all right,
It's
guys,
been enjoyable, guys.
this has been a blast.
Enjoyable.
Really, it's been a fun time. So, Mitch,
I
Lee,
want to thank you guys for coming on. Definitely.
yep, thank you guys. Best of luck to you guys and Hatchie River Hook in your upcoming endeavors. I know y'all gonna be making a bunch of noise here, so best of luck to you guys. Thanks for joining us on the Semper Doggin podcast today.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right,
Thank you,
Basham,
guys.
I'm good. You good?
Good.
All right, guys. Well, keep following us here. If you guys would, please tell this podcast or tell one of your friends about this podcast. Let them know that we're out here. Spread the word. Share the love. If you guys see this stuff on social media, just hit that share button. It's real easy. If you liked it, why don't you go ahead and leave us a review. Anywhere that you're listening, give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, give us a review. I hate asking for it. It's cliche, but it really does help us out. It helps us get the word out here. It helps us to, make people want to spend some time on this podcast with us. It makes it worth their while knowing that everybody that listens to this podcast is going to get to hear about all these different stories, whether it's from the bears to the chairs, as Basham likes to say. We cover it all here. So English dogs, Walker dogs, blue tick dogs, maybe even a poodle one day. You never know what it's going to be. But we always have fun on the Semper Doggin podcast, and we couldn't do it without you guys, the listeners. So thank you guys for everything that you do for us. Thanks for following us along on this journey, and we hope you guys will just continue to enjoy it and let us know what you think about it. If you don't like it, okay, great. Send me an email. Shoot me a message. Let me know what you don't like, and we will try and make it better for you. So always here to improve that customer experience. Ain't that right, Basham?
Yes, sir. I'm all about the customer experience.
All right, guys. Well, for Semper Doggin and all of us here tonight, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to sign off of here. Join us on the next Doggin Tuesday, Facebook Live, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. over on the Semper Doggin Facebook page. That's where you can join us, interact, have a good time. We have a good time over there, and we want you guys to be there with us. So I'm signing off here.
Till next time. Toodaloo.
See you guys.
See you guys.
We all know that canines can take us to some wild places, and some of those are only accessible by an off-road vehicle. No matter how hard you try to maintain your ride, something is bound to break on one of your adventures. When you find yourself looking for replacement parts, or maybe even a few upgraded parts to further try and prevent a breakdown, look no further than Never Satisfied Off-Road. Joey Goforth is the proud new owner of Never Satisfied Off-Road and is ready to serve you. Performance accessories such as lift kits, portals, tires, and more can all be found at Never Satisfied Off-Road. Located in Covington, Tennessee, the team at Never Satisfied Off-Road is ready to ship parts and accessories for your ride anywhere in the country. As their new website is currently being built, be sure to follow them on Facebook at Never Satisfied Off-Road 23 to keep up to date on the hottest items and sales. Give them a call at 731-693-9921 to place your order and get your ride ready to follow your canine wherever they may take you. Are you ready for the best part though? Mention that you heard this ad on the Semper Doggin podcast and you will receive a Semper Doggin approved listener discount.